Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Vina Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauri Guru Varga ki jai, Patik Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vina Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrind ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Go. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, page 1 of this book, Shri Gauriya Giti Guccha. If you don't have the book, we'll talk about that later. So Mangalacharan means auspicious invocation. It's not just chanting mantras, but it is actually invoking the presence and the mercy of our Gurudev, of all of our Guru Varga, of all transcendental personalities, that they may be with us and inspire us with their presence and their mercy. Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahaganam Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamshcha Om Ajnanatimirambhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Namine Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sudasham Autarya Madhurya Gunashya Yuktam Varam Varinyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Shirashan Namami Tridanginam Bhakta Shiromanincha Shri Krishna Pada Jugitaika Hriddi Chaitanya Leela Amrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaura Presthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Niti Namine Pativartya Charitraya Swashritanam Chapaline Jiva Mukhe Sadartaya
Shri Nama Prema Gaine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshabharami Devi Daitaya Kripabhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Ujvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Nivatarine Rupanugam Nirudhapo Siddhanta Dvantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambhana Sambodhe Padam Bhujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugam Valayate Gaura Virbhava Bhume Svam Nirdeshva Sajana Priya Vaishnava Sarva Bhoma Shri Jaganathaya Te Namaha Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavananyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratrishe Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhani Sudevi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Surato Panno Mama Mandam Matirgati Matsarvasva Padam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vrindaranya Kalpamala Srimad Ratnagar Sinhasanastho Shri Shri Radha Srila Govinda Deva Krishnani Bhisevyamanu Smarani Shri Mandra Sarasaramhi Vakshivata Tatastitaha Karshannenu Saragopi Gopinatha Shri Iskunaha Vrindaye Tulasi Devyai Priyaye Keshavasya cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasani Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Shvananam सर्वात्मा सपनं परं विजयते श्री कृष्ण संकीर्तनम् हरेर्नाम हरेर्नाम हरेर्नामेव केवलम् पदो नास्त्येव 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 गतिरन्यथा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Sangsara Davana Lalitaloka. Surprise.
What page?
It's before.
I just never read it. You should.
Where is it?
I don't know. Is it in Sanskrit songs?
Well, we've got Davanana Sama. Did they put it in Sanskrit songs all the way in the back? Why did they do that?
255, yeah.
That's why we're not singing it as part of our normal Guru Bhajan repertoire.
What's going on?
They should have it, all of them just in their sections.
Yeah.
I don't discriminate between Sanskrit, Hindi, Bengali, and English. Depends
I'll
on
have to talk to Madhukar Prabhu.
Yes, Madhukar.
Okay, so page 255, Samsaradava Nalalita Loka. Yes, Sri Guru Astakam.
Samsara
Ave Shri Chaitanya More Kori Venandoya. Page 75. And if you don't have a songbook, is Jiva Pavana Prabhu there? Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam.
Jiva Pavana Prabhu will post the bhajan, as he usually does, in the comment section of the thread. So just scroll to the newest or most recent post of Jiva Pavana Prabhu, and there you will find the bhajan with its translation and sometimes beautiful commentaries, so you can follow along.
Like on the last one.
Like on the last one. So thank you, Prabhu. Dhanavad.
Bhagavatamrita
Shuniyachi sadhu muke bole sarvajan Shri Rupa Kripaya mile Jugala Charan, page 51. श्री सनातन गोस्वामी पाद की जय, श्री सद्गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय।
Page 62. Starts Ananda, A-N-A-N-D-A-K-A-N-D-A. Ananda Kanda, Nitai.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda जपतो गौर पतित गौर जपतो गौर दीनो रजनी आनंद घोर पतित गौर जपतो गौर दीनो रजनी आनंद घोर प्रेम रतन करिया जतन प्रेम रतन करिया जतन जगत जनेश्वर दान रे जगत जनेश्वर दान रे कीर्तन नमाज रसिक राज कीर्तन नमाज रसिक राज जय छन गनया गिरिराज कीर्तन नमाज रसिक राज जय छन गनया गिरिराज ब्रज विहारो रस विकारो ब्रज विहारो रस विकारो मधुर मधुर गानो रे मधुर मधुर गानो रे धूली धूसरो धरणी उपारो धूली धूसरो धरणी उपारो कबहु लुथत प्रेम गरम धूली धूसरो धरणी उपारो कबहु लुथत प्रेम गरम कबहु चलत कबहु फेरत कबहु चलत कबहु फेरत कबहु आत हास रे कबहु आत हास रे कबहु सेदो कबहु खेदो कबहु सेदो कबहु खेदो कबहु कुमुदक सर विभेदो कबहु सेदो कबहु खेदो कबहु कुमुदक सर विभेदो कबहु लंघ कबहु झंप कबहु लंघ कबहु झंप कबहु दीर्घ श्वास रे कबहु दीर्घ श्वास रे करुणा सिंधु अखिल बंधु करुणा सिंधु अखिल बंधु कलिजुग तम पुरन बिंदु करुणा सिंधु अखिल बंधु कलिजुग तम पुरन बिंदु जगत लोचन अटल लोचन जगत लोचन पटल लोचन निताय पूरन आश्रय निताय पूरन आश्रय
प्रभु की जय। Page 361. Sundaralala Shachiradulala Nachat Shri Hari Kirtaname. It's in the Hindi section of the songbook. Very beautiful meaning. Sundaralala Shachiradulala. Shri Sachinandana Gaur Hari Ki Sundaralala Shachiradulala Nachat Shri Hari Kirtaname Sundaralala
नाचत श्री हरि कीर्तन में
Shri Satyanandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Bhajan with Radha and Krishna together. Radha Krishna Pranamor Jugala Kishore, page 1, 2, 3. Radha Krishna Pranamo Jugala Kishore. Radha Krishna Pranamo Radha Krishna Pranamo Jugala
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Radha Vinoda Bihari ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayanitti Namine Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminitti Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev. Nitya Lila Prabhishta Vishnupad astottara Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same thousands of Dandava Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Prabhishta Vishnupad astottara Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Guru Gauriya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. I was contacted by a devotee yesterday who was wondering what was appropriate. What is the appropriate activity when another devotee passes away from this world? And so we had an interesting discussion. Because Vaishnavism should be devoid of sentimentality. When we throw sentimentality in the mix, we cease to maintain its purity. We cease to maintain its purity. And when we cease to maintain the purity and we're throwing sentimentality into the mix, that opens the door just a little bit. It's the crack. But you give a little bit and then it allows a flood of sentimentality to enter. Generally, we hear that when someone leaves this world, they've gone back to Godhead. But according to our Shastras, according to our Gurus, according to those who are Tattvadarshis, entering into Krishna's Leela is not a cheap thing that all one needs to do is die and then they attain that. I know that we like to hear that and we like to think that. But I've always been very, very careful not to make that projection. Because when Sri Guru departs from this world, we say, Nitya Lila Pravishta. They have entered into Nitya Lila. Of course, they always were already present there, as we are saying in today's bhajan, Sangsara Dava Naladithaloka. In there it says, Nikunja Yuno Ratikeli Siddhyai Yayali Vir Yuktirapekshaniya. tatrati dakshyat ativallabhasya vande guru shri charanarvindam. They're always engaged serving Radha and Krishna within the Nikunjas of Vrindavan. So one should understand and see their Gurudev like that, especially Rupanuga Guru Varga. When they depart from our vision in this world, then we say they have entered Nitya Lila. But for just anyone, someone who may have been practicing a little bit, maybe 1% or 2% or 5%, and even within that percentage, not really wholeheartedly necessarily, to suddenly ascribe to them the term Nitya Lila, or that they have gone back to Godhead, or that they have attained Prem, or that they are now a Mahabhagavat or Vaisnava Thakur, this cheapens the whole process. Our Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj said, to give the same glorification to a third class, means or Kanishta Adhikari, as you would give to the Uttam Adhikari Vaishnava, this is actually an offense to the real Uttam Vaishnava, because suddenly you're placing them on the same level, where Srila Rupa Goswami has instructed us that we should actually honor Vaishnavas according to their level or depth of bhakti. So in the course of this conversation that I was having with this devotee, some interesting points came up, and they're mentioned in Shastra for a reason. So Raghunath Das Goswami, when he came to Vrindavan, he was completely desolate, in separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and so many of his associates. Because after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, so many of his associates also did not want to remain in this world. So they were leaving very quickly, one after another. And Raghunath Das Goswami was in such a desolate, desperate separation, with so much acute pain of separation from these Vaishnavas. Like Rai Ramananda told Mahaprabhu, I know no pain greater than that of separation from the Vaishnavas. That Raghunath Das Goswami had decided that when I arrive in Vrindavan, I will jump from Govardhan or enter into Jamuna and give up my life. But when he arrived in Vrindavan, Sri Sanatan Goswamipada understood his heart, and he told him one katha. He said, when I first went to see, not the first time, but when I was there in Puri, Mahaprabhu saw me at that time, I was very ill. I had so many sores on my body, and it was oozing pus and blood and everything. Even there were animals, creatures which were eating his flesh. But when Mahaprabhu saw him, he saw him as a pure devotee, transcendental. So he overlooked all of that. As Rupa Goswami tells in the 4th verse of Upadeshamrita, 6th verse, Drishtai svabhava janitair vapushashta doshair na prakritatvam iha bhakta janasya pashyat gangam vasham nakulu budvidu pena pankhair brahmadravatvam apagacchati nirdharmai. Just like the Ganga should always be considered pure, no matter how much mud or foam or bubbles or dirt or even bodies are floating within Ganga, in the same way, the pure devotee, because they have completely dedicated their mind, their heart, their body, their soul, everything in the service of Krishna, although there might be some external defect in their body, maybe sores, maybe disease, maybe malformation, or maybe even some nature which might appear harsh. They might have some temperamental, apparent temperament. Still, they should be considered transcendental and pure. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Sanatan Goswami, who was telling him, no, 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 but he embraced him anyway. And he was telling them the perfection of the body is to embrace and touch the bodies of Vaishnavas. And Sanatan felt so lowly about himself at that point that he decided, I should just give up my life. So he decided, okay, well, there's a good place to give up one's life is in Puri. It is said that if one gives up their life under the chariot wheel of Jagannath, that they will attain Vaikuntha. So he decided in his heart that I will give up my life under the chariot wheel of Jagannath. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he knows everything. He knew the heart of Sanatan Goswami. And he told Sanatan Goswami, who subsequently revealed this to Raghunath Das Goswami, if death was the qualification for Krishna Prem, for divine love of God, don't you think we all would have died by now? So there's a very important lesson in that. If that was the qualification, we all would have ended our lives immediately. We all would have jumped from Govardhan or entered into Jamuna or jumped under the chariot wheel of Jagannath. But death is not the qualification for prem. One will continue as they have in their previous lifetime. One time there was one devotee who was actually hit on the head with a metal pole during Harinam, means Nagar Sankirtan, street Sankirtan. And subsequently, due to his injuries, he passed away. And the devotees approached Srila Govinda Maharaj and asked him, so where did he go? He was doing Harinam Sankirtan. Where did he go? He must have gone back to Godhead. And Srila Govinda Maharaj said, Are Baba, death is a doorway. As one is in their consciousness, general consciousness, as Krishna says, Yam Yam Bapi Smaram Bhavam. As one's mood is, as their consciousness is, as their remembrance is, it's not necessarily the very last momentary thing that went through their mind, but it is their general state of consciousness. They will continue without fail from that point. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yajantyante kalevaram, after the end of this body, tam tam evaiti, sadattad bhava bhavitaha, they will attain to that consciousness, and from there they will continue. So consciousness is not just an instantaneous shift. Sometimes, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Vaishnavas, like Haridas Thakur gave that instantaneous 3-day shift to that Lakshahira, and Narad Muni gave an instantaneous shift to Mrigadi the hunter. But in most cases, it's a gradual progression, or Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaj calls it a subjective evolution consciousness. So to just suddenly ascribe someone the title of Vaishnava Thakur because they have died, this is not within the confines of transcendental reasoning. If you weren't calling them Vaishnava Thakur while they were physically present, if you weren't respecting them as a Mahabhagavat Vaishnava, why did death suddenly make them such? So it is imperative that one does not make pretenses and pretend, because although it might feel good for the moment, it cheapens the entire process. It cheapens all of it. Then we'll place conditioned souls on the same level as Mahabhagavats, which also cheapens the position of a Mahabhagavat. If it's so cheap and so easy, then why that process that we've been given? It's the most valuable, finest, highest treasure and destination. Like we've been reading this treasure, going beyond Vaikuntha. Technically, Vaikuntha is pretty easy to attain, theoretically. But when you want to progress beyond Nirvana, beyond Vaikuntha, Vaikuntaj janito vara madhupuri tatrapi rasotsavat vrindaranyamudar pani namanat tatrapi govardhana radha kundamihapi gokulapate premamrita plavanat kuryat asya virajato giritate sevam viveki naka. Verse 9 of Sri Upadeshamrita by Rupa Goswami is telling that beyond Vaikuntha, much more concentrated transcendental ecstasy, Madhupuri, the realm known as Mathura or Mathura Mandal, much more than Vaikuntha, because there's much more personal relationship and dealings, but much more than that is Vrindavan. And within Vrindavan, much, much more than that is Govardhan. And the highest concentration of transcendental ecstasy, which is even more than Govardhan, within Govardhan, in that most sacred, highest place where prem completely inundates everyone and everything. That place is known as Radha Kunda. So theoretically, it may be easy to attain to Brahmajyoti, theoretically. Although yogis and sages and jnanis are endeavoring for thousands and thousands of births to be able to have that kind of destination. And we are striving for that highest, most refined, most intimate service to Radha and Krishna in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan at Radha Kunda. What a hope. What an audacitous hope. But yet, our Gurudev has given us assurance of this. Right? Nama Shrishtam Manamapi Sachipatramatras. I can't remember the last part. Rupam tasyagrajamurupurim maturim goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Prititakripaya Shri Gurum Tannatosmi. Why am I offering myself at the lotus feet of my Gurudev? He's given me assurance of attainment of Radha Kund at Govardhan and service to Sri Sri Radha and Krishna in those Nikunjas. He has given me relationship with them and assurance of attainment of them. That's why we must hold on very tightly to the lotus feet of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga. So why am I telling this? So that we understand that the attainment of transcendental prem, and divine service to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna is not acquired simply by dying. If I'm chanting 5 or 10 rounds a day, but not really putting my heart in it, or even 64 or 2 or 3 lakhs a day, but my heart is lacking in the exclusivity of mood that is required, the one-pointedness, then why should I expect to attain that highest destination? In the meantime, yes, practice must be there. We must be under guidance. But not that if I give up my life, then I've attained that automatically. Then we open that door to sentimentality. And when we open the door to sentimentality, everything else becomes cheap. But look at what our acharyas have given. There's no room for sentimentality. There's no room for speculation. Everything is clear. That is the function of Sri Guru. We say that prayer to Guru. Tasmad gurum prapadyeta jigyasu shreya uttamam shabde pare chanishnatam brahmanyupasamashrayam. 1. They must be well versed in all Shastra. And the ripened fruit of all Shastra, Srimad Bhagavatam, completely rejects all kinds of sentimentality right from the beginning, right from the get-go. Dharma projita kaitava traparamo. It rejects all kinds of processes which are cheating in essence. They're not the pure thing. So it rejects it from the beginning and establishes the truth, distinguished from illusion. So all of our Guru Varga are representing that, and they are clear. So they must be well versed in all Shastra, and they must be able to dispel all of our doubts through the medium of Shastra. But much more important than that, because so many can tell us Shastra and dispel doubts and this and that. Brahmanyupasamashrayam. They are completely 100% surrendered to Krishna. Parabrahma Shri Krishna. Brahmanyupasamashrayam. Ashray means taking shelter or surrendered. And really, they are experiencing, as our Srila Prabhupada said, practical experience of their relationship with Krishna when he's speaking on the verse that Didi pranipatena. So this is no ordinary thing. If everyone had that same qualification, that would be absolutely wonderful. But how would we differentiate our Gurudev or our Sri Gurus from anyone else? Then we could just put, make a bhajan, Sri Guru Charana Padma, and then throw anyone's name in there randomly because they chanted Hare Krishna once or twice. But Rupa Goswami tells us how to respect Vaishnavas according to their levels. And we should not be subject to the sentimentality of this world, but rather we should be subject to the truth of what our Gurus are giving us. If anyone has even once chanted the holy name of Krishna, then we should give respect within our minds. Manasadriyeta. If they've actually embarked on the process of bhajan to attain transcendental loving service of Krishna under the guidance of Sri Guru, then we should offer our dandavat pranam to them. And if they have already completely surrendered their entire life, their heart, their mind, their body, soul, exclusively the lotus feet of Krishna, and really they have the qualifications of the Goswamis, means Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghujago Shri Jiva Gopalako, then we should surrender ourselves at their lotus feet. This is what Rupa Goswami says in the 5th verse of Upadeshamrita. So he's telling us how to honor Vaishnavas according to their levels and qualification. It's essential that we don't throw that sentimentality into that transcendental mix. If we don't stand for something, I've read this, it's a popular saying, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Means if you don't have conviction, what is our conviction? Vaishnavas should never speculate or think, say, I think, I feel, I believe, maybe this, if and but, especially when they're in a position of representing Krishna, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Rather, Vaishnavas should be Shastra Chakshushaha, see through the eyes of Shastra. Otherwise, yes, it is true that there are exceptions, and there are many exceptions. But nowhere do we see that Vaishnavas are exception Chakshushaha. Shastra Chakshushaha is the term which is given. Vaishnavas should see through the eyes of Shastra and represent Shastra. And if we don't know the answer to some question, instead of saying, well, we're not followers of Vaidhi Bhakti, we're followers of Raganuga Bhakti, that also cheapens it. Okay, so how come you're not able to answer my question? Well, then you throw, we're Raganuga Bhaktas in the mix, so we don't have to follow rules and regulations. But for those of us who are not on that highest level or avadut, if we're not uttam or avadut, to say such a thing is, in essence, opening the doors for sahajiyism, where anything and everything goes. And then we get ourselves into a dangerous situation. So Shastra tells us that those activities that we do that are not in line with what we're receiving in Sampradaya, what we're receiving from our Guru Varga, what we're doing whimsically or sentimentality only creates so much disturbance in society. So even though our Guru Varga, technically, theoretically, we understand that they are already beyond liberation, they're already engaged in the loving service of Radha and Krishna, but still, by their own example, they're showing and teaching us how to follow. They don't have to. They're beyond that. They're already in the state of spontaneous divine love for Radha and Krishna. They already have that. But still, they are showing us their own sadhana, their own practice, which is in line and according to Shastra, so that we will have the example to follow. It is fine to acknowledge that exceptions may be there, but we should be careful about over-applying the exceptions to ourselves to such an extent that we actually become lazy or complacent on the path of bhakti and actually end up just being nonsenses and thinking, well, you know, I chanted a little bit in my mind today, so that's cool. It's cool if you want to maintain your sojourn through the material existence, but what is required for actual rendering of transcendental loving service at the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna? Radha Krishna pranamor, jugala kishor, jivane marane gati, ar nahi more. Nothing should break it, not death. In life or in death I have nothing else. They are the life of my life. Nothing will break that, no matter what. Even if I have to go to hell even if I have to suffer, even if there's so many difficulties coming to me, still my exclusivity will be direct, straight, clear. Like what Haridas Thakur said. He said, you can cut my body into thousands of pieces, yet I can never give up the chanting of the holy names. Can we be like that? Real taste and relationship, sambandha, is necessary for one to have that kind of conviction. And that is only awakened in the association of those persons who have it. So that's why Srila Rupa Goswami tells us in the 8th verse of Upadeshamrita, Tishthan braje tad anuragi jananugami, that one should do all of their activities of bhakti under the guidance of and in the association of, under the discipline of, a resident of Vrindavan. What kind? Anuragi. That person who has already awakened their loving relationship with Krishna. Tishtham braje tad anuragi jananugami. One should be following them, residing under their guidance, under their shelter, under their care, and accepting the discipline that they've given us. If we want to awaken that bhakti, that desire, that mood of exclusive loving service to Krishna, Krishna Seva Vasana, if we want that mood to awaken in our heart, then we must be under that guidance. So I'm going to come back to the first point. First, let me finish this point. Tan nam rupa charitari sukyatananu smrityo kramena rasana manasi niyojya. This is the essence of all advice given by Srila Rupa Goswami. Iti upadesha saram. That one should 24 hours a day without cessation, under the guidance of a Brajarasik Bhavuk Anuragi, eternal associate of Krishna, while residing in Vrindavan, at their feet, under their guidance and discipline in their association, one should, without cessation, absorb themselves deeply. This is Sukyatananu. Absorb themselves deeply in remembering and glorifying Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. Tanam Rupa Charita Adi Sukittananu. So this is the recommendation by Rupa Goswami if one wants to attain that highest destination. We have heard that Ajamil, he called out to Narayan at the time of his departure from this world. First he was calling his son. Only calling his son is not enough. If you read even in Srila Prabhupada's purports, and I've also read from the purports of other acharyas, but you read in Prabhupada's purport there, he says that Ajamil, before he became a criminal and a sinful person, he was killing people, he was stealing, he was robbing, he was a gunda. He fell in love with a prostitute, left his beautiful, young, qualified wife, had many children from her. He was doing all kinds of nefarious activities. But when he was calling for his son at that time, out of fear of these Yamadutas ripping his soul, his subtle body, out of his gross body, at that time as he was calling Narayan, Narayan for his youngest son, at that moment he remembered all of his previous samskar, the impressions from his youth, of his sadhana and his seva to the Lord. And from that, because now he's doing Nama Rupa Charitari Sukirtananu, at that moment, he was remembering all of that. And then it was no longer the name of his son, but it was actually the name of Narayan and Namabhas at that. Not even Shuddhanam. At that moment, the Vishnudutas arrived and told those Yamadutas, stop. You don't have the right to take him. And they're like, what? But he was so simple. And they actually had a big conversation with Yamaraj about it. How is it possible? He was supposed to go to hell. And Yamaraj had to explain to them the glories of the holy name of the Lord. But he didn't immediately go back to Godhead. Most people think he immediately went back. Actually, he was given another opportunity. So they gave him another chance, and then he utilized that opportunity to completely dive into his remembrance of Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes until he became fully purified, and then he was brought to Vaikuntha Dham. So we should not cheapen the process. Bhagavatam has told us, our Shastras have told us, our Guru Varga have told us, Mahaprabhu has told us, Sanatan Goswami has told us, Raghunath Das Goswami has told us, it is not a cheap thing. These people are always leaving their bodies, one after another, one moment after the next, after the next, after the next. We have done it billions and trillions of times over. And to this date, until this date, not one of those deaths were qualification for the attainment of Krishna Prem, which is proof that death is not the qualification for Krishna Prem. Krishna Prema manifests first in the form of Shraddha, which comes in the association of devotees. Krishna Bhakti Janmamul Hoy Sadhu Sangha. The birthplace of Krishna Bhakti, which is the beginning of Prem, because it first manifests in the form of Shraddha, faith, transcendental faith, as a function of the association of that pure Vaishnava. As I've told before, faith is not just a belief. I believe. It's not just like that, because beliefs come and go. But faith is something different. Transcendental faith, or Paramarthik Shraddha, is different. It is defined as Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. That just by engaging in the processes of bhakti as prescribed by Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas and Shastra, then automatically all of my material obligations, my material debts, everything is taken care of. I don't have to worry about anything else. I can just focus and move forward exclusively in that process. And it is defined by the symptoms of Sharanagati. Satya Sharanapati Lakshana. That this faith is actually the beginning. And Sharanagati is said to be the doorway to bhakti. That I am accepting everything that is favorable for bhakti into my life. Rejecting everything that is unfavorable for bhakti from my life. Accepting that Krishna is my only protector. That Krishna is my only maintainer. This is a tough one. Do we have that conviction, that faith? That if I give up every other activity and surrender exclusively at the lotus feet of Sri Guru and follow the order of Sri Guru, this is the way that bhakti manifests. This means following the path of bhakti. That all of my necessities will be maintained. That all of my obligations will be taken care of. It's hard to develop that. It's not a cheap thing. Even the beginning part, what to speak of Prem. Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Krishna is my protector, he's my maintainer. Deep humility will be there. And complete, what is it? Atmanikshepa Karpanye. Atmanikshep means submittance. I'm giving myself, surrendering myself. This is part of Shraddha. Shraddha is defined by the 6 symptoms of Sharanagati. The reason I'm telling that is because I'm trying to inculcate the idea that the path of pure bhakti is not so cheap. It's not necessarily not easy. It's easy if one is in the association of a pure Vaishnava. But when we're not in the association of a pure Vaishnava, then due to lack or want of that association, we will generally take any other association. Then it starts feeling difficult. It feels difficult because we don't have taste in it, because we've only ever known taste in this material world. So it's a foreign thing for us. As Jaiva Dharma tells us in its first chapter, due to being in the association of this material world since time without beginning, the jiva, whose nature it is to flow with love and affection toward Krishna like a river naturally flows toward the ocean, due to being in this cold environment, has become frozen. That means our nature of loving service to Krishna is not flowing. We become frozen. And due to being frozen for so long, our hearts have become hard to Krishna Seva. We begin to think, or we think that this is actually our essential nature. And so we become resistant to that flow because this is what we know. That's why Srila Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Maharaj asked that question, why do we not like to love Krishna? Because to love Krishna means actually to turn all of our self-enjoying tendencies toward the service, the transcendental service of the transcendental senses of Krishna without expecting anything in return for ourselves. And that is very foreign to us. And so it's almost a cause of fear. Why would I do that? That's giving up my sense of self, my need for enjoyment, my need for comfort, my need for security. Myself, what about me? What about me? We can become a little bit afraid to give that to Krishna. Only in the association of those who are actually tasting nectar at every step, Purna Amrita Ashvadanam, as they are chanting the holy names and serving Krishna by that process, when you see that experience that they're having, you kind of go like, whoa, wait a second, I want to put this down and experience what they're experiencing. And what are they experiencing? Transcendental, loving service to Krishna. So I just want to check really quick because I've said a lot and I want to see if anyone has. What assurance do we have that Sri Guru will be with us in the afterlife? I cannot guarantee you that Sri Guru will look exactly the same as what you have had in this life. Our Gurudev said 100 or 1,000 times, same wine, new bottle. And our Srila Prabhupada said, Guru is one who appears in an infinity of forms to teach you, me, and all others. So if Guru is one who appears in an infinity of forms, then we should understand that Guru may appear in so many different ways as Guru appeared to Gopakumar. In so many different forms and different ways, but the same essence is there. The same essence is there. Diksha Guru is known as Krishner Rup, the form of Krishna. Shiksha Guru is known as Krishner Svarup, the nature, the qualities, and also the form of Krishna. So Guru will manifest in so many ways. Will we be able to recognize Guru? Will we be able to accept Guru? If we are sincere, then we will be able to understand. Janme, Janme, Prabhu say. We say in this bhajan, Shri Guru Charana Padma, that Guru will come for us. Birth after birth, you are my master. Janme, Janme, Prabhu say. But he will come for me, birth after birth. What does that mean? At the time of initiation, the disciple makes a vow to Gurudev that I will follow your instructions. What you tell me to do, I will do. And I have faith that you will make this Jivatma qualified and eventually place me in the service of Shri Sri Radha and Krishna. And Guru also makes a vow to the disciple. And that vow is, until you are qualified, I will keep coming for you, birth after birth. But also there's a requirement on our part that we're actually making an endeavor to follow. Srila Govinda Maharaj said, if the disciple is not making any endeavor to follow or is even going against, or is ungrateful or is throwing everything away, then why does Guru have a responsibility to them? Only if they're making an honest endeavor, and there's a responsibility. It's two sides, there's a relationship there. If you reject that relationship, you cut off communication and you reject it, then why would you expect them to come running after you and serving you in every step? So in one sense, Guru can never neglect any disciple. Why? Because Guru is a manifestation of Chaitya Guru, Guru in the heart, who can never neglect even one jiva. But on the outside, that might be. But we should understand that if we are making some sincere, honest endeavor, if we're making an endeavor to serve, if we're making an endeavor to follow, if we're trying, or if we're even praying, I'm so weak, please help me. Even if we're calling out with sincerity, I don't have the power to even do these things, please help me, please help me. If we have some sincerity, they can work with that. Not with duplicity, not with hypocrisy, but with some sincerity. Maybe even so many material desires are there, but one might be going, oh my God, why am I so attached to these things? Why am I so, Gurudev, help me. And Gurudev can work with that. Gurudev can work with even a little sincerity, if there's a little bit of sincerity. Otherwise, he said, what can I do? If you don't want it, I can't force you. Guru won't force us. Krishna won't force us. We have to be willing to open, to give a little something. Okay? I'm giving something that you can work with. So in that case, this is the assurance that Guru will come life after life. Srila Prabhupada said, yes, Guru makes this promise, and he will continue coming life after life for the disciple. But then he also kind of joked afterwards, so you better get it together, shape up, I'm paraphrasing, so that you don't have to keep bringing me again and again for you. The disciple should not be in such a way that he's bringing you have to come again and again, life after life for me. We should try to serve our Gurudev by following, by accepting the nectar, the teachings, the instructions that they want to give, and not continuing to pull them, come here for me, come here for me, come here for me. Does that make sense? So Srila Prabhupada actually mentioned it like that too. He added that like a little joke on top of it. But we should understand that really Krishna is always waiting for us. And Krishna is the original Guru. Guru is Krishna, who's manifesting in so many forms. So in one way or another, if we have even a little bit of sincerity, we will meet with Sri Guru. We should try to muster up more sincerity, because if we're trying to cheat, then Srila Gurudeva Maharaj says, instead of getting a teacher, you might attain a cheater. So many of us have experienced cheaters and been so disappointed and disillusioned again and again that finally we cried and prayed for a real teacher to manifest. And many of us very, very fortunately received a real, pure, bona fide teacher in our lives. So if we make that endeavor, if we sincerely pray and we call for the mercy of Krishna, not taking shelter of our own ability and our own power, but really praying for the mercy of Krishna, then we should accept and expect that Sri Guru will manifest. Not only life after life, but again and again within one life. Even within this one life, again and again, Sri Guru will manifest in so many ways and help to guide us and to push us forward. So we should have this hope, we should have this faith and conviction that Guru Tattva is an eternal, essential reality. Our Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj said, to think that there is no pure devotee available, this is an atheistic opinion, because it denies Guru Tattva. It denies the calling of the jiva to Bhagavan, and it denies Bhagavan's mercy, which actually condenses and takes a form and steps in front of us as Sri Guru. So he said it is an atheistic opinion. And I've read it from him, I've read it from Srila Gurudev Maharaj, I believe I've read it from Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj and others, that if there was no pure devotee present in this universe or this world, it would cease to exist within a moment, because there would be no purpose for it. There's no pure devotee, then Krishna's reason for its existence would also be not there. Krishna's reasons for its existence is so that he can give mercy. We need mercy. His mercy comes in the form of Sri Guru, Krishna Kripa Shri Murti. The condensed form of Krishna's mercy is known as Sri Guru. So we should have faith. We should have conviction. I remember when, was it Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj disappeared from our vision in this world, Sudevi was kind of looking around, okay, everything is still here. That means there must be a pure devotee available still for us. There should be that hope in that conviction. If we're sincere and we cry and we pray, Krishna is not a poor person. Krishna is not limited. At any moment, he can send one or millions of transcendental eternal associates who all have praying for him to help us and anyone in this world. We should have faith in Krishna's compassion, in Krishna's mercy, and the manifestation of that mercy, which is Sri Guru. Now I want to continue going beyond Vaikuntha with all of you. Before entering into this transcendental literature, it is really a beautiful treasure. Our Srila Gurudev's commentary full of bhav and ras on Sri Sanatan Goswami's beautiful manifestation of Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So we will pray in the words of Raghunath Das Goswami to their lotus feet. Vairaga juga bhakti rasam prayatnaya apayanam mam anubhikshamandam kripambuliryā paradukaduki sanatanaspam prabhum ashrayami. Praying in the dust of their lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods, which are present within these pages, manifest themselves within our hearts. So yesterday, Srila Gurudev, Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj was giving his commentary. And he was actually showing us that there is some speciality with Krishna versus Ram or Mahaprabhu or so many others. If Bhagavan manifests his nature as the Supreme, he will not freely converse with any ladies and he will not approach any young unmarried girl. But Krishna in Vrindavan met with millions. So then Gurudev asked, would Ramachandra even look upon the face of an unmarried girl? Would Mahaprabhu, after he accepted sannyas? What to speak of not noting what ornaments they would be wearing around their necks or on their wrists? Mahaprabhu would not even look at the nails of their toes. Although they are Bhagavan, Mahaprabhu and Ram, still they possess such shyness and dharmagya, constant awareness of upholding their dharma. So this is their nature. But Krishna's nature is Leela Purushottam. He is the Supreme Personality of all Leelas and Akhila Rasamrita Murti, manifesting and experiencing and relating in all rasas. This is the speciality of Krishna. Srimati Radhika would never run to Ram. The gopis would not dance with Ram and he would not dance with them. Would Krishna dance with the gopis? Yes. Would Sita be attracted to Krishna? Maybe. Because Krishna is all attractive. So, Lakshmi also, she came here. She wants to enter into Krishna's Rasalila and she's praying to have entrance. How attractive is Krishna? Supremely all attractive. That everyone and every ras wants to join his pastimes. And everything's nature, even those who are the most chaste, the most shy, the most dharmagya, they cannot help it. Their natures reverse and they end up running toward Krishna. Calves that are drinking milk from their mothers, when they hear Krishna's flute, they forget that they're drinking milk. Their mouths open, the milk and froth is coming like this, and they're just drinking the nectar of Krishna's flutes with their ears wide open like that. Everything reverses. Stones begin to melt. Their nature is normally hard, but they melt. And Krishna's footprints are there in the stone, and whoever was with him there, also their footprints are there. Prints of the flute, prints of Krishna's mukut, so many footprints are there. Animals, cows' footprints, we've seen them in Sheshai, Charanchina, Charanpahari, and so many other places. Their footprints in the stone. That stone melts. Those gopis who are the most chaste persons in the universe, they also melt and they run, they flow toward Krishna without hesitation. Jamuna, which is normally flowing that way, stops in her course, turns around and comes back, and offers her heart in the form of lotus flowers at the feet of Krishna. So he has this special capacity to reverse the nature of everything. How attractive is he? So completely all attractive. That's why his name is Krishna. Where there is such a sentiment of dharmagya, meaning the constant awareness of upholding one's dharma, or aishwarya gyan, prema is restricted. But this obstacle is due to the nature of one's own worshipful Lord. Obstacles imposed by others are not enough to be a problem. So, here Gurudev is saying something interesting. But this obstacle is due to the nature of one's own worshipful Lord. So depending on the nature of one's relationship, there might be some obstacle. If your Lord is Narayan in Vaikuntha, then you cannot have the same relationship with him that you could have with Krishna in Vrindavan. If that is your Lord, it's just you can't have that relationship with him because he doesn't reciprocate like that. That's not his function. It's not Ram's function either. It's Krishna's function. So obstacles imposed by others are not enough to be a problem. All such obstacles were placed before Gopakumar. In Vaikuntha, the residents teased him. You keep saying Gopal, Gopal, Krishna, and you say that while holding a piece of bamboo stick. Oh, sorry. And you say that while holding a piece of bamboo stick, Krishna will engage in a rasa dance with the gopis. This is a very shameful thing. Will Narayan ever do this? So Gurudev is saying that the residents of Vaikuntha are teasing Gopakumar. Because he keeps saying that. Gopal, Gopal, Krishna. Would Narayan ever dance with the gopis? This is very shameful. It's interesting that the residents of Vaikuntha will also say this. We found that also reflected in this world when they were worshipping Radharani with Govinda. Rupa Goswami had established Radhika next to Govinda, and then they brought Govindaji to Jaipur with Radharani. With so many Brahmins and Pandits and other persons from different sampradayas, they were hesitant and even opposed to the idea of worshipping Radharani with Krishna. Why? Because Radharani is married to Abhimanyu. So why should she be worshipped alongside Krishna? This seems to be against dharma. So they didn't want to accept it. They wanted to remove Radharani from the side of Krishna and just worship Govinda, Krishna alone. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur sent his follower, disciple, Balare Vidyabhushan. Balare Vidyabhushan went to Jaipur to debate with all of these big Pandits and Brahmins. And he had all the answers, but they wouldn't accept him unless he presented a commentary on Vedanta Sutra. He needed to be in a bona fide authorized sampradaya, and they didn't accept it as a sampradaya unless they had a commentary on Vedanta Sutra. He said, but we already have Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the natural, ripened fruit of all Vedic literatures. Sri Vyasadeva said, Artoyam Brahmasutranam. This is actually the natural commentary on all Vedanta Sutra. So we already have Bhagavatam. They said it's not enough, you need your own commentary. And you've got like 2 or 3 days to do it, to manifest it. He was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So that night he was praying and crying to Govindaji. Why? He was there to establish the right to worship Radharani along with Krishna. So Govindaji told him everything and he wrote it down. Therefore it was known as Govinda Bhashya. And our Srila Prabhupada dedicated his Bhagavad Gita commentary to Balare Vidyabhushan, who so nicely presented Govinda Bhasya. And that's why Prabhupada used the term as it is, because it is coming directly from the Supreme Lord himself. And because of that commentary and all of the tattva and the siddhanta and the shastras and everything that Baladev Vibhushan gave as proofs, everyone had to accept, they were forced to accept defeat, and they had to accept that it is proper, authorized, and bona fide to worship Radharani along with Krishna. Thank God. So I was just saying how even in Vaikuntha they have this move, and it was reflected in this world where other sampradayas were saying, no, you cannot do this. And so they're even saying this is a very shameful thing. In Vaikuntha they're saying it's a shameful thing. Will Narayan ever do this? But this is not the problem, the obstacle. So it wasn't the problem or obstacle for Gopakumar that they were saying these things. Then why was Gopakumar dissatisfied? Nard told him the reason. Now Sri Guru can see the heart of the disciple. They understand what's going on, and when the disciple is confused, they need help from outside of themselves. That's why Sri Guru is there. Guru in the heart is always speaking to us, but we have so many other voices and doubts coming up too, so it's difficult to differentiate. Jive shakshat nihitate guru chaitya rupe. Because we cannot detect the Guru in the heart by our senses, then Krishna or Chaitya Guru mercifully manifests externally to the senses of the conditioned soul so that we can communicate with them. That is why it is necessary to have the guidance of a personality, a person, Sri Guru, that we can communicate with. If we are not yet on the level, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 27, Text 13, or maybe it's Chapter 13, Text 27, in the conversation there, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that only when one has actually attained to the state of liberation can they communicate with Paramatma directly. Until that point, then we must have guidance of Diksha and Shiksha Gurus. If you're not able to have it physically, then in the meantime, Shastriya Sadhu Sangha. But the result of taking Sadhu Sangha from Scripture is that that personality might be able to come who is no longer just passive but active. They will say, no, you've misunderstood, put this idea to the side and you should follow this path and then you will attain your goal. So it is imperative and essential that we take shelter of a person. So Narad told Gopakumar the reason. In the form of Narayan, he will not manifest the type of prema that you desire. So that form of Narayan does not reciprocate with cowherd boys in terms of Sakya Ras. So Narada Muni is saying, he's not going to fulfill your desire, what you need, what you require. He simply will not give it. You will not be able to laugh with him, converse freely with him. That is the big obstacle to prema here. There's prema in Vaikuntha, but it's not like the prema of Braj. So Narada Muni is telling him, Narayan doesn't reciprocate like that, so you won't find your satisfaction here. It's just not what he does. You have to go beyond Vaikuntha. But then, Narad Rishi told Gopakumar to remain in Vaikuntha for some time. He wanted him to understand all of this tattva. So being in that situation sometimes, it gives a very clear understanding and perspective. Sometimes we don't understand why, but Guru is telling him, you should be in that situation. Sudevi and I have experienced some things like that also, where Gurudev gave us an instruction. You should be in this situation. And even though it was one of the most difficult things for us, really difficult, when we came out the other side, we realized how many beautiful treasures he gave us through that experience. Those difficulties that we had to endure in that situation were actually such great treasures. And really, it was a matter of his affection for us, his caring for us, his love for us, that he gave us that experience by which we could learn so much and really be able to move forward. It enabled us to be able to distinguish over so many different things. He made us in that situation, and then after some time he extracted us from that situation and gave us so many beautiful treasures through it. So sometimes Sri Guru places us in a situation so that we learn the valuable lessons we need to learn, and then we can move forward from that with so much conviction and strength. So Narad Muni told Gopakumar, you remain in this situation, then you will learn so many tattvas, you will understand so many things. Narayan has a total of 60 qualities, 5 more than the demigods. Of these 5, the first is his being Hatari Gati Dayaka. He gives a high destination to those killed by his own hand. Whenever the Supreme Lord kills anybody, it's not like anyone else killing anybody. When he kills someone, he gives them liberation. So this is the first, Hatari Gati Dayaka. He gives a high destination to those killed by his own hand. The second is that he possesses the highest pinnacle of all Aishwarya. Aishwarya means opulence. He contains or has the highest pinnacle of that. So everyone will look and think, wow, what great opulence. Whereas in other forms, like Krishna in Mathura, or even Ram or Dwarkadish, and definitely Krishna in Vrindavan, you won't see it like that. Although Krishna has 16,108 palaces, Narayan in Vaikuntha, what does he possess? There's millions of Vaikuntha planets, millions of the most valuable treasures. Everything is built with the most valuable touchstones. So he possesses the highest pinnacle of all Aishwarya. And also Aishwarya means awe and reverence. So the moods toward him are full of awesomeness. And so much reverence is there. Everyone sees him as God, the supreme, absolute Lord and ruler, creator of everything. In Braj, they don't see Krishna as God. They see Krishna as my dearest friend, my son, my beloved, but they don't see him as God. And their love for him is so great that he forgets, I am God. And he becomes completely controlled and captivated by their love and absorbed in transcendental, rasa-laden pastimes. The third of Narayan's 5 qualities that are beyond what the demigods have, the third one of his 5 special qualities is that he is the original seed of all different incarnations. So these incarnations manifest from Narayan. From him comes the Karanadakshaya Vishnu, and from him comes Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, then Shirodakshaya Vishnu. From the Shirodakshaya Vishnu, Kirsagar, within any universe, from him manifests all of the Leela avatars, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Nrsimharam, Parshuram. And although they're manifesting from them, we should still understand that some are manifesting via them, but are not actually their manifestation. Ram is beyond Karanadakshaya Vishnu, or Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. But still, for the purpose of this passage, we should understand that he is the original seed of all different incarnations. The fourth is that he is the attractor of even the liberated souls. Liberation has many different meanings. What is an example of that? The 4 Kumaras, they were Brahmagyanis. They were liberated souls. When they approached the gates of Vaikuntha, something happened to them. Just by the fragrance of the tulsi leaves emanating from the lotus feet of Srimad Narayan, their hearts were changed. From Brahmagyanis, they became bhaktas, or devotees of the Lord. So he's so attractive that even the liberated souls become devotees, meaning they become attracted to him. And fifth is that he is eternally present in millions of universes. So I already mentioned that he's present in millions of Vaikuntha planets, all at the same time. Therefore, Narayan is also Bhagavan and Avatari. Avatari means the source, and Bhagavan means full of all six opulences. Aishvaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashashashriya jnana vairagyayashchaiva. I can't remember the last line yet. I have to practice it again. But we know that six opulences, that Aishvarya, all wealth, all fame, all strength, all beauty, all knowledge, all renunciation. I'm almost finished with this passage here. So he's also Avatari. Avatari means the source of all other avatars, the seed of all incarnations. Krishna is also Avatari, so what's the difference between Krishna and Narayan? If they're both the source of all incarnations, then what's the difference between them? When we say that Narayan doesn't come as an avatar, we mean that his self-same form that is present in Vaikuntha will not come to this world. Have we seen any pastime where Narayan himself comes to this world?
In Padma Purana, there are stories like Han Narayan and things like that, but it might not be this world.
Yeah,
who knows?
Might not be. Hayagriva and other incarnations come, but Narayan himself, with club, lotus flower, disc, and conch shell in his four hands, comes in another form as someone's son, husband, brother, or friend, and then performs all his pastimes from those positions. So even he manifested in the jail cell of King Kamsa to Vasudeva and Devaki in that form, but as their son. It's still manifested like that. And Gurudeva is making a variation here. And Krishna, bringing Vrindavan Dham with him, he descends in his original form, playing the flute and enjoying with the gopis. Bringing his dham and associates, he descends in his self-same form. How beautiful is that? When Krishna appears to this world, he himself comes. So that's the end of this paragraph. We will continue more tomorrow. Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai. Oh, thank you, Shashankji, for sharing that. He just posted the link for these lectures, which are on YouTube. A sweet note to finish on.
Aww.
We finished on Krishna, and everything is sweet about Krishna.
Madhuram.
Adharam Madhuram. His lips are sweet, his face is sweet, his eyes are sweet, his hands are sweet, his feet are sweet. Everything is sweet about the Lord of sweetness.
Even his chastising of demons is sweet.
And his form as Vinobihari, so sweet, which you will see in just a minute. Krishna Govinda Govinda Mohana, Krishna Govinda Govinda Mohana, Krishna Govinda 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 Mohana, Govinda Thank you all very much for being with us today and giving us the opportunity
Thank
to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, and just to engage us in our Guru Seva and to help us to keep our minds occupied with what's important, which is the glories of Krishna, the glories of Krishna's devotees, Guru Sadhu Shastra, Hari Guru Vaisnava. So we are indebted to you for that. And we look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe,
Radhe Radhe,
Radhe Radhe, Radha Vinoda Bihari Ju ki Jai, Sachinandan Gaura Hari ki Jai.